existed in society in one way or another. And we'll call this World 1.0 values. And if you look at how the technology cycle, for example, was rooted in the framework of fear and scarcity and greed and revenge, separation, isolation, secrecy, lies, and deceit. Now, there's a real cynical view of the world, and there are many positive aspects in the world, and many of us can look at the same thing and see two different pieces. And that view is framed oftentimes by our attitudes and our beliefs. So I believe that in this next cycle of innovation with life sciences, and knowing that we're ahead of the catalyst of driving us deeper into crisis, that we have a window here, a shrinking window, where we can influence the values of what I'll call World 2.0. So there's some human core fundamentals that we all want. When we're born, we don't want this stuff. What we really want is we want love, we want freedom, we want justice, we want abundance, opportunities, create this kind of collaborative environment. Collaborating and being transparent and truthful with people tends to accelerate people toward their purpose. We take the power of intention. We intend to solve the world's biggest problems. Well, intention is very limited until we start to say, well, hey, how can we formulate that intention into a purpose and a plan? Well, we need to collect together as groups, find other people with a common idea. So we need to come together and start collaborating, sharing, being transparent, giving the information, the research, the things that we've come up with, putting it out there. And there's many examples in business and, of course, university where people are collaborating and accelerating innovation. There's a couple stories on the site here that I encourage you to go check out about John Golden. There's a story about core performance and how they're giving away research and development, and their business is just absolutely taken off. There's another great story about IMSA, the Illinois Math and Science Academy, and how they created a collaborative environment with where they were able to turn a certain kind of grass into diesel fuel, collaborating with Beijing and a group out of Virginia. And there's thousands of stories. We want to hear about the stories that lead toward this stuff, because wouldn't it be cool if we created a world that was based, the foundational roots were based on this? And there aren't many times in history where we can do that. History shows that the times are during this, and then once the catalyst hits and we're deeper into crisis, there's policies and procedures and restructurings that happen that bake into society something that becomes rigid and very difficult to change. The moment is now. We've never had a moment like this in our lifetimes, for sure. We will never have a moment like this again in our lifetimes. What we decide to do with this moment is really the critical factor. We can either be complacent and allow the catalysts to unfold and society to be shaped, and will the powers that be shape it like this or shape it like this? Will they do it intentionally, or will it just happen as it's happened many times in the past? Let's do it with intention and purpose. Let's collaborate and come together and accelerate innovation so that we can tackle those biggest problems of today, and we can shape society into a place where we would just dream of being. And let's treat others as we want to be treated. Wouldn't that be a cool place to be? Let's work together. Collaborate. Be transparent. Instead of doing things in secret, separately, in isolation. If we do this, we can magnify the impact. Well, how do I know that? Because we can take resources that are historically isolated and in parallel paths like this, and we can marshal them toward a common purpose. And those resources are going to be people, money, facilities, and the list goes on. And this is our great opportunity. So the next piece that we're going to talk about is, we'll talk about discovering purpose. We'll also talk about action. Well, this sounds all great, but it sounds very idealistic to a lot of people. Well, how can we convert it into actionable items like some have, like John Golden has, like IMSA has, like countless others have already done, but do it on a larger scale all around the world for the greatest impact for humanity.